You're probably wondering why I'm here. It all started like how all bad things start, Twitter. All I said was I wanted Wesker to have zombies, and then the villain of our story emerged. Epic Dead by Daylight facts. He said my idea would just be Nemesis with cool shades and proceeded to ratio me on Twitter. So, I did what I do best and thought way too hard about it. Today, we're going to talk about how I designed Wesker's powers, perks, and some additional aspects of the chapter. I will not be going over what I think Ada will have for perks because frankly, I'm a filthy killer main who wouldn't be able to make up anything in the realm of reasonable. Brainstorm in the comments if you'd like. Hopefully I get this video before the power is already revealed, but seeing as my upload schedule is slower than a Burger King Myers, it's about 50-50. Wait, what do you mean they removed Burger King Myers? Before we get into it, let me just say that I'm not a prophet. As you saw from an intro, I don't even have the gift of hindsight. This isn't a serious guess of how Wesker will play, but rather a cool idea I had that I'd like to see implemented. Also keep in mind that any numbers I use in this power are for proof of concept and aren't balanced. I'm not a game designer, and it's not like I can test the gameplay to see what's fair or not. Also, I love you, Epic TBD. You're not really a villain to me. The Mastermind, yes, that's what I'm calling him, is a standard killer with a 32-meter terror radius and a 4.6 meters per second movement speed. He uses his hands as his weapon. Trust me, his hands are all he needs. He would be the third fully voiced killer behind Trickster and Pinhead. He'd have many lines of dialogue reflecting his cocky and megalomaniac nature. He'd have his Resident Evil 5 appearance by default. It fits his power and frankly I just think he looks cool. Plus, it's no doubt his most iconic look. I won't go into any possible lore explanations for a couple of reasons, the biggest one being that I'm not qualified to explain this guy's lore to a community notorious for ignoring the lore. But also, if I were to talk about Wesker's story for more than 30 seconds, I'd have already given more lore for him than Capcom allowed for all the other Resident Evil characters combined. Anyways, before I go on any more unnecessary tangents, let's get into Wesker's power. Wesker's power will be intensive on resource management and control. There are layers to his gameplay that mainly consists of juggling pressure and loop denial, with a hint of built-in slowdown. We'll break it down one piece at a time. Using the Progenitor virus, Wesker has a slew of superhuman abilities, and can resist and even harness a much more deadly virus. The first aspect is infection. Unlike the T-virus, Wesker's Ouroboros virus is transmitted in trace amounts through basic attacks. When landing a basic attack on a survivor, Wesker will receive 1 mutation point, and the survivor will receive 1 infection point. Deep wound attacks give a point to Wesker, but not to the survivor. When a survivor reaches 4 infection points, they will become afflicted with Ouroboros. This will give them the incapacitated status effect for the entirety of their infection time, meaning they can't repair, heal, or cleanse, for those not in the know. Unlike Nemesis, the vaccines for Ouroboros are an infinite supply, but cannot be accessed as easily. There are many vaccine stations around the map. When a survivor reaches 4 infection points, a random machine is activated. Only a fully infected survivor can receive a vaccine from the activated station, and Wesker will not be able to tell which machine is activated. It doesn't take long to grab the vaccine. It's less of an interaction and more of a fancier looking treasure chest. No, even fancier than that. That'll do. Also, you don't have to use the vaccine on yourself, but you probably will since you have to be infected to take it in the first place. Oh, you want a reason for that stipulation? Bioscan or something. I don't know. I said so. Zombies accompany Wesker in the trial. Eat your heart out, Epic DVD. And will be able to both damage and add an infection point with each attack. Their AI would be a lot smoother with improved pathfinding, and as an added bonus, we've dunked them in a pool of butter so they stop sticking to the trees and rocks. The Blight was kind enough to give us his stockpile as hug techs are being made illegal. And yes, this whole concept is just me wanting the zombies to have better AI, what of it? I enjoy the hentai man for the funny and game-changing moments zombies create, not the severe depression I get seeing them get intimate with the local boulder population. Before any of you point out how Wesker can't technically control zombies, might I remind you that behavior are not above taking creative liberties when designing their characters? I don't see anyone pointing out how Demo literally teleports using his portals when that's not really how it works, unless you want to convince me that he traverses the Upside Down by running really fucking fast. Not to mention, Nemesis can't technically control zombies either, but that didn't stop you from begging for it. In my mind palace, Wesker can command zombies, and here's how. A red arrow indicator will appear above a zombie's head when looking at them. This will allow you to select it. Once selected, you can direct it to an area in the map to defend. A zombie in defense will be highlighted in blue. Defending zombies have a much shorter attention span when it comes to chases, so survivors trying to lure them away will need to stay close and steady. You cannot have a zombie in defense mode too close to a hook survivor or exit gate switch, and if they're lured away far enough, they'll eventually lose interest in what they were defending. Alternatively, you could direct it to a survivor to have it pursue. Pursuing zombies will have their aura highlighted in red. Pursuing zombies will focus their attention on the chosen survivor full time, and can be stopped by killing it or making substantial distance. If a survivor blinds a commanded zombie, it'll forget its command. A zombie will go to whatever it's directed to on foot, but if it's way too far away, it'll die and respawn nearby. Wesker uses his mutation points as a currency, with a max wallet of 6, and has 2 ways to spend them. First is mutating zombies. When you walk up to a zombie, you'll get a prompt to spend 2 mutation points if you have them. Hold the button to imbue the zombie with Ouroboros, causing it to violently sprout tentacles out of its arms. A mutated zombie will move at an additional 100% speed and gain a longer reaching attack. These mistakes of nature will persist until they're squashed by a pallet, or Wesker can kill them to refund a mutation point. Alternatively, Wesker can spend 2 mutation points on himself to get a charge of a special attack, Progenitor Rush. One aspect of Wesker I had trouble wrapping my head around is his blinding speed. He can move so fast he practically teleports, and I was not about to give him a teleport under the guise of him moving really fast because that's boring. Besides, I can't give Wesker that exact thing I just shit on Demogorgon for, and can you see my dilemma? This is a hard character to make a kit for, and that's not even counting the one-liners I had to sit through while doing research. Leave a like to ease the pain.
Your future hinges upon this fight.
But seriously, this guy is overpowered. A lot of people like to compare him to Nemesis, but it's more like comparing him to fucking Superman. He's ridiculously powerful. Anyways, am I getting sidetracked? So, blinding speed. Using 2 mutation points grants a charge of Progenitor Rush. You can call that a corny name, but I'm trying to simulate the team that came up with Feral Slash. I feel as though I took it right out of Behavior's mouth. While you have a charge of Progenitor Rush, your lunge attack will be replaced with this special attack. Initiating a lunge will cause Wesker to fucking zoom at his target with increased lunge range and speed. Think of it like Pig's Ambush, but if Amanda drinks some of the Blight's coffee. Super fast and no charging up required. As he runs, he will leave an afterimage of himself as he goes, because of how his speed looks in the older games. This attack does not give a mutation point, but will still injure and down. I wanted to give Wesker some kind of special move he could perform that felt unique compared to other killers' kits. I say as I directly tell you to picture the pig. Shut up. Originally, I had him be Myers, but with zombies, and while I'm sure Myers with zombies is something Behavior would actually do, I'm not satisfied with that. I'm a fan of having a pretty hard to avoid attack that is limited in the amount of use it has. And you also have to consider that what I'm presenting here won't be super easy to use with the crazy speed, unless your name is Lilith Omen, of course.
Oh, yes! Do the 180 instead out. Let's go, man.
Progenitor Rush will be skill intensive, but not unfair in my eyes. Besides, no amount of speed will be able to beat a well-timed E button. My idea for Wesker is kind of similar to the Oni, in the sense that the main counterplay is don't get hit, lol. But you aren't putting your entire kit into that aspect. Even if you can't rack up mutation points, you still have the ability to command your zombies. Although I'm sure the zombies mutter veiled insults when their awful leader starts telling them what to do. Building stacks of mutation every attack means it costs the team to take hits for each other. You may heal super fast, but that only gives Wesker more ammunition for his power. I didn't think I was going to end up making any add-ons, but I'm very proud to say that I made a sizable list. Granted, some of these are lifted from Nemesis, but there is still a lot of new ideas in here, so let's run them down from common to ultra rare. Jack's birthday hat. A hat that symbolizes celebration and fun. Wearing it can make even the most frightening individuals to appear more friendly. Causes zombies to explode in confetti when killed by any means. Here's your Resident Evil 7 representation. Take it or leave it. STARS Field Combat Manual. A manual compiled of STARS close-range combat knowledge, edited by Chris Redfield. Progenitor Rush speed is reduced by 50%, gain an additional 200 blood points for successful Progenitor Rush attacks. Brian's Intestine. The small intestine of Brian Irons, chief of the RPD, is an appetizing sight for the zombies. Increases unmutated zombie movement speed by 50%. This is the only add-on that affects movement speed for zombies, so I wanted it to be good. It doesn't apply while the zombie is mutated. Visitor wristband, an electronic umbrella wrist. You know what this does. It's the same logic as Brian's intestine. I doubled the effect I combined the effects because there's only one in this concept. Leather gloves. Progenitor Rush no longer deals damage, but instead will give 2 infection points to survivors when hit. Don't question the logistics of this add-on being a thing when he already wears leather gloves. We don't play this game for logic. Now, you might think this add-on is kind of gimmicky and worthless, and you're right. Rotten flesh. Zombies gain the ability to track blood and are compelled to follow blood pools. Dirty jacket. Zombies that aren't being commanded will be attracted to your location, and will be more likely to patrol within your terror radius. Flashbang. While the bright flash is disorientating, the undead storm loud noises and hordes. Issuing commands now orders both zombies simultaneously. Serotonin injector. A hormone that slightly relaxes the user for when stealth is required, delivered in smaller doses than for the tyrants it's intended for. Gain the undetectable status for 15 seconds when a zombie is destroyed. I love this add-on on Nemesis, and I feel as though Wesker would utilize it better with his smaller frame. Typewriter. Once a symbol of safety, no use for it in a place like this. Zombies gain the ability to hear lockers being used. If they find a survivor in a locker, they will start banging on the doors, alerting the mastermind. The survivors will be first to do a Victor-style shove door interaction to escape. Liquor tongue. A sticky prehensile tongue that easily wraps around anything it touches. A mutated zombie will inflict survivors they attack with the hindered status effect for 6 seconds. Can we talk about the hindered status real quick? It's such a mess of an effect, and it's the one I think needs to be looked at next. It's like there's a scale of how much the status actually does for you. Actually, good idea, me. Introducing the hindered scale. This scale is to give you an idea of what I mean here. Hindered feels so inconsistent, ranging from Nemesis begging you to slow down to the clown with a fucking crowbar. Also, you notice how I put 20% on Nemi? Yeah, it turns out he technically has the best hindered effect in the game, but is active for such a short amount of time that it practically doesn't even exist. This is ridiculous. Please rework hindered. Zombie heart. The heart of an eviscerated zombie. It's considered hazardous waste, as it's certainly teeming with viruses. When a zombie is destroyed by any means, it'll burst blood all around it, soaking any nearby interactables for a limited time. Survivors that interact with contaminated objects gain an infection point. Think of it like plague vomiting on something. Decreases zombie respawn time by 5 seconds. Broken barricade. Splintered planks found next to shattered glass panes, a grim reminder of the unrelenting nature of the undead. Zombies can now be commanded to damage dropped pallets, breakable walls, and generators. It takes them 5 seconds to complete this task, but 2.5 if they're mutated. Tyrant Claw. A massive, wicked hand adorned with piercing claws. Looking at it reminds you of the cold, dark fingers of death that reached out for you that day. Yeah, that was my Wesker impression. Hitting a zombie during Progenitor Rush will not stop the attack, but will rather refresh the entire duration, allowing you to extend the rush. Door hinge. The hinge of a door you effortlessly destroyed in a fight with Chris. Holding it fills you with reckless abandon. Running into a dropped pallet or breakable wall during Progenitor Rush will instantly destroy it without stopping the rush. Breaking a pallet or breakable wall this way will consume an additional mutation point, if you have one. I realized having the ability to go through a pallet and still get a hit is strong, so the added downside of spending an additional point was necessary in my eyes. Wasted bullet casings. The discarded casings of bullets you effortlessly dodged in an encounter with Chris. Initiating Progenitor Rush will cause you to briefly disappear from sight, but the distance is halved. Unstable Ouroboros. Prolonged exposure to the entity's realm has caused some unnerving mutations. Zombies start the trial mutated and will mutate again when the last generator is repaired, if not mutated already. Mutated zombies will also gain a 25% speed boost, and this is only while they're mutated. And then finally, Iridescent Umbrella Badge. Yes, I know a lot of these add-ons are borrowed from Nemesis. Fully infected survivors will be instantly placed into the dying state when hit with Progenitor Rush. And that's the add-ons. I'm pretty proud of a lot of these. I do think now, with the gift of hindsight, a lot of these add-ons would be pretty worthless. You look me in the eyes and say you would seriously consider taking leather gloves or zombie heart, but you know what? I enjoyed making them, and I liked coming up with creative ideas more over, like, meta ideas. Anyways, onto the perks. Something you probably don't know is I've made some concepts in the past, and what is always my kryptonite is the perks. I've had some dumb ideas. Nevertheless, I have a lot more experience and intuition when it comes to designing concepts, and I'm confident that there's some bangers on selection here. I wanted to make Wesker's perks focus on movement speed, because I don't think we have enough perks that do that, and the ones that do tend to be underwhelming for one reason or the other. The first one is Focused Pursuit. You are driven by a self-centered desire to see your master plan succeed. At the start of the trial, for 6, 8, or 10 seconds, gain a 15% haste boost. Gain an additional 1% haste to all other haste effects, excluding Bloodlust. I like the idea of this perk as something that would combo well with Lethal Pursuer, more of that duality between Nemi and Wesker. I wanted this perk to have a secondary effect, but wasn't happy with anything I thought of. Then Dead by Daylight themselves revealed this buff for Lethal Pursuer and my mind was blown. That's genius! So yeah, I'm doing the same sort of thing here. Scourge Hook, Patient Zero. Seeing their confidence fizzle away as the symptoms set in gives the entity a twisted delight. 30 seconds after a survivor is saved off a Scourge Hook, the survivor on the hook and anyone they've interacted with in that time will suffer from the hindered status effect, and will periodically cough for 20, 25, or 30 seconds. This perk serves an important function, to discourage tunneling. Think about it, if you let that little Meg go, not only do you avoid the most painful back massage of your life, and also off the fucking record, but you have a little ticking time bomb running around spreading this perk's effects for you. I had other drafts for this perk, but those ones would inadvertently encourage tunneling. I think this one works perfectly for my vision of a survivor unknowingly doing your bidding. Also in the hindered scale, I'm talking clown with a crowbar. Corruption, Double Agent. You've learned how to take advantage of the enemy's resources for your own selfish ambitions. When you're within the radius of a boon totem, gain a 5% haste boost that lingers for 5, 6, or 7 seconds after leaving the boon's radius. Yeah, that's right, I'm making a whole new class of perk with Wesker. I wanted a perk that utilized boons, and my mind went wild with ideas, so I've decided a new class of perk was in order. Corruption perks will apply within the radius of boon totems. I will make more corruption perks in future concepts. I have tons of ideas already. A perk that makes boons more dangerous is perfect for Wesker, who practically wrote the book on double crossing. So, we've covered everything with the killer, but what else do you think we could speculate? Well, I don't think Wesker will come with the new map. In fact, I think the rework for RPD is going to come with Project W instead. I'm sure the devs would have loved to say that themselves, but they wanted to save the reveal for the end of the stream, which made the people who had to announce the RPD rework feel kind of awkward, right? In terms of cosmetics, I could see Wesker having a simple jacket-off chest piece, and maybe a classic Resident Evil 1 outfit. Additionally, I think I speak for everyone in the room when I say we want a classic nemesis. S-Smart Employee on Twitter said it best, every character should have a vintage fit. According to the roadmap this year, I believe that even though Rebecca Chambers was leaked, she's just going to be a legendary skin for Ada. I always thought William Birkin would be a cool legendary skin for Blight. In his first form, he has that kind of hobble, and the pipe could be a good substitute for Kane. I think it'd be cool. They could even swap the Blight's chase music for Nemesis's. Could you imagine how intense that'd be? And finally, I stand here, a humble goose, who has simple pleasures. Simple pleasures like Carlos. Please put this man as a legendary for Jill. We can't let Jill and Leon fend for themselves in this cold, cruel, Carlo-less world that is the entity's realm. Hey, we made it. If you watched all the way to this point, I ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more concepts and predictions. Yes, I do feel dirty asking like a basic shill YouTuber, but I actually had a lot of fun making this, so I want you to stick around. If you don't say yes, I will grab the rope. Big thank you to Epic Dead by Daylight Facts on Twitter. If it weren't for you ratioing me in the comments, he ratios me in every comment, by the way, I wouldn't have had this stroke of creativity. Oh yeah, I also try to stream on Twitch at least once a week. I haven't done that in the past fucking month, but I will get back on track. Trust me, haha, fingers crossed. So come on by to gain a mutation point. I'm looking forward to doing many more concepts in the future, so look forward to that as well. It feels really nice finding passion in projects like this, you know? I went out of my way to get a proper audio program for this. I'm basically professional. The next step is to upgrade to a new editing program. Sorry, WeVideo. You served me well since high school, but high school isn't paying your atrocious annual fees anymore. It's time to move on to better things, like a proper program and not a web browser. Something free and not an average tank of gas for an American. I hope this video serves as a good last hurrah to you, old friend. Now come on, let's go see the rabbits. And that's it. I swear, if there's some huge recording problem to this nearly 30-minute long clip, I'm going to cry.